Hey, Status D, please like and subscribe. Please click on the deck heroes icon, click on subscribe. 100% free. Brackets, blood in, blood out. Anyway, this video is all about simping. And are you a simp? Am I a simp? No way, son. No way, son. Anyway, it's a lady. She got full of tips and advice and guidance. I'm going to be jumping in, jumping out if I think I've got something to add to what she's saying. Obviously, she's given a female's point of view. We the man. So I'm going to give a slightly male angle on different points. I know that because I've already done one video and it didn't record properly. Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's play.
Hey guys, there are some crazy and really embarrassing ways some men simp on social media and in real life and don't even realize it. Simping is a turn off to women. If you do simp, then you're not even going to get past her gate. Never mind into a relationship. Never mind even into a one-night relationship. And the harsh truth is, if a woman starts to think of you as a simp, it's nearly impossible for her to change her mind about you. And when that happens, you might as well give up and start all over with someone new who doesn't even know you. But then, you'll simp again with the next girl and by being rejected over and start to think that women own the Chad and Tyrones of the world.
You know what? She's absolutely right. I think there's a lot of people who, as to say, listen, I've been there as well. That's why I'm making these videos now, where you don't respect the etiquette of how to approach somebody. There's a right way, there's a wrong way. There's what we want as men, and there's what they want as ladies. And there's just a right way to go about it. You got to obey these rules, as I say, an etiquette. And to break those rules, even in subtle ways sometimes, just means you're not going to get the success that you want. You know what I mean? So, simping's one of those things on the list, and just being aware of what simping is and how you can fall into these brackets where people will not respect you. You know what I mean? For just trying to fall in that simp category. Let's see what she's got to say.
And that's simply not true. Let's look at the men simp on social media and in real life, why it's such an instant turnoff to women, the difference between being a simp and a gentleman, you might be surprised, and the counterintuitive way to know if you are simping or if you are being a gentleman, so you can stop getting rejected and start spending quality time with the kind of women you want. Welcome to So some of you might be wondering, what is simping anyway? Well, simping basically is putting a woman on a pedestal and treating her like a celebrity by either giving her swaths of attention or spending money on her and just hoping to win some little crumb of attention or affection from her. It's the new term for thirsty, nice guys. Let's look at some social media examples of what simping is, and then we'll look at some real life examples. So here are some embarrassing ways that men simp.
Hold on, just whilst we just before she goes into that, I think simping is basically if you have to buy somebody's attention, somebody being the lady, if you need to buy that lady's time and attention, you are simping. You know what I'm saying? That's not to be confused with if you got to a certain level and you just want to treat her, and that's fine, and she's going to appreciate that, some of the time. But you know the difference, basically.
Media, and it's way too out of hand. Liking every post that she puts up on Instagram or TikTok and using lots of emojis like hot, drooling, love-struck eyes, or is this too much? Exaggerated compliments on her appearance. You're so hot.
Absolutely. She's not going into any detail. That's why I'm jumping in now. The detail that I think she's talking about is, listen, your sexual market value can be fundamentally undermined by how you go about this thing, how you go about this etiquette of interacting with people. And that is in any dynamics. If you act like you're lesser than you are. So if you go to all these heart emojis and all this kind of begging, like beg a friend, if you're trying to beg your way into, then you are simp. You're a simp. It's okay to compliment people, especially those ladies you're trying to attract. And of course, they're going to be flattered by some compliments. But again, if you get to the point where she's a 10 and you're portraying yourself to be a 5 and lucky to be in her presence, and then you are a 5. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. She's more respected by people of the same caliber as herself, more so than the beggars.
Sorry, don't do that. Inappropriate declarations of love or admiration. Marry me, Ashley. And you don't even know her in real life. Even if you did, That's still simping, but we'll get to that. Acting like her boyfriend when you don't even know her, like using pet names or declaring date nights or invites, sending long, sappy messages that beg for attention. How about this one? Defend.
Yeah, those long message. Listen, she ain't gonna read it. In fact, it's gonna be more of a hassle to her. Think about when, listen, if you haven't actually received that kind of thing yourself, they may be a little bit harder to understand. I'm going like in my career of dating, obviously, not now, but yeah, it's just like, wow, it's just a hassle. You know what I mean? The people that you want to be with don't have to try that hard. You got time for them, but and we know, and the people that have to struggle a little bit too much, and you can put yourself in that bracket by simping, not really on your level, not in your sexual marketplace level, and that's the low.
Her anti-masculine, pro-feminism, man-bashing posts. Whether you're posting publicly in her comments or trying to slip in to her DMs, social media simping is an instant turnoff. And she may even reply with a thanks, but guaranteed she has little to no respect for you. Now, that's not to say that complimenting is always a bad move. Indeed, complimenting can be a good move, but it's when and how you compliment that makes the difference. And I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute. But first, let's look at the embarrassing ways men simp in real life.
You know what? So I promise not to keep jumping in. Only when it's relevant, though, and necessary. She said she'll mention the compliments thing later. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. I think that complimenting a lady that you're with is a good move, right? But it's kind of, again, you got to do it in a way where it's, I do it like it's just factual. Like if somebody's looking absolutely stunning, oh, you're looking stunning. You look absolutely amazing. You smell great as well. You're always on point. Crack on the rest of your day. You've made your point. You're not trying to beg it. You know what I mean? Point has been received. You don't have to say it 1,000 times. It's like anything. There's like diminishing returns to this thing anyway. And I say if you're of a given level and you've met her more than once, you already know that she's gorgeous. You know what I mean? And you just reaffirm it and a little bit of eye contact and saying what I said. You know, that'll go a long way.
And some of you might be surprised by some of these because you're probably doing them and not even realizing. Embarrassing ways men simp in real life include multiple compliments on her appearance in rapid succession, double or triple texting her when she hasn't even replied to your first text, being over.
You know what? That is a biggie. That's a biggie, isn't it? That is a big one. Yeah, listen. And again, listen. You got to remember how it is for you as well. Okay, and everybody's been in that situation, or most people have. And if you haven't, then this is the video for you anyway. We all know when we received a message. You know what I mean? And some of us are quick to reply, some of us are slow to reply, but we all know when it's there. And if somebody chooses not to reply, then that's exactly what they've done. Pointless bombarding her. It's just giving her more attention. And if she's doing it on the basis that she thinks that you're a simp, or there's other people slightly higher ranked in her mind than yourself, then you're just proving yourself to be there. This is the facts. The facts. The only thing that I found myself in that situation is just to give it about a week, something like that. Give it at least a good few days for it to not be able to respond and say, oh, well, I was just about to do it. No, she wasn't. You know what I mean? You know she wasn't going to do it. Give it about a week. Just say, are you cool? Or how you doing? You know what I mean? If you said hello before, don't say hello again. You know what I mean? Because it's just a reminder that she didn't reply to that the other time. It needs to be some kind of continuation. So, I don't know, something like what I just suggested. And that is probably over. You know what I mean? As I said, because there's somebody else which is higher ranked than you, or she just doesn't rate you. Accept the reality, man, sometimes.
Overtly available anytime she wants. If you are starting to see her publicly marking your territory, this translates to insecure, not proud of. Apologizing when you shouldn't. Definitely watch my video on how not to simp your stories. I'll put a link at the end. Buying her gifts when you're not her boyfriend. Maybe you're just dating. How about this one?
Again, yeah, this gift thing, you can't buy your way into somebody's affections. You'll just be used. And just for an example, say if you're running down the road and you got £10 in the air and somebody snatches out your hand, then you were asking for it. If you just keep on giving these unrequested gifts, then you're asking for it as well. So don't think it's going to get you anywhere, because weakness is not attractive. You know what I mean? I say just begging for attention just shows you to be of a lower mark than a higher mark. And I'm not saying to be an idiot about it, but you know when you're trying to buy someone's affection, and you know if she would not be, if you feel in your heart of hearts that she just wouldn't give you the time of day unless you did it, that means you just let it go. Let it go.
Her emotional tampon when she complains about boyfriend. There you are sitting on the sidelines orbiting, hoping to get something. Meanwhile, she's just using you. Essentially, simping in real life is when you put her values and needs above your own in every way. But Anna, why is that such a turnoff to women? You'd think they'd like that. No, this is why it's counterintuitive. Major turnoff. Because a high value woman needs to know that you have high value oriented standards, not low, shallow oriented standards. Key point. If everything she does is perfect in your eyes, she knows you are not really seeing the true her, idea of her, and the fantasy made up in your mind about her.
This is where it gets a little bit grayer. This is where it's a little bit grey, and there's a definite difference between a lot of kind of channels that give advice on things. And I believe I side with the other channels on this one, because you cannot go and start highlighting somebody's flaws that you barely know, or if you've just met. You can't do that because there would never be a second date. She's not interested in having a debate about whether she's right on something. She's just going to feel uncomfortable, gone, and that will be your own fault. So in the back of your mind, you might have your own kind of criteria and checklist, and that may, well, that should, you know, determine how long you want to keep that conversation going. And you may start off at wifey. Now I'll give her one more chance. Now I'll see what she's doing later on today. You know what? I think I'm going to walk out the door. Something like that. I don't know. Or whatever it is. I'm making fun there, but it's something along those lines, isn't it? So, yeah, people kind of talk themselves out of a potential match from her to you or you to her. But yeah, I don't think highlighting her latent flaws or flaws in anything, unless it's a key boundary you have set, you are prepared to kind of draw that line and potentially have that date just finish right there. And if it is, I guess fair enough. But it's probably not going to work out for the best. And let's move on, see what else she's got to say.
Media, or even visually in person. And a lot means that you need to be able to not only see those flaws, but she needs to know that you see those flaws. And no, simping is not a flaw that she's going to learn to love, because it goes against the law of. So how do you show interest without it being a turnoff? Let's look at what simping isn't. Generally, it's not simping. You're more safe if you focus on character-related comments and or compliments. Why? Because this actually shows you have standards, high standards, value-oriented standards beyond the physical. Limit compliments to 1 per interaction maximum. Hint, interaction means she's interacting, she's engaging. If she's not legitimately reciprocating and engaging, stop. You're only feeding her ego. And generalize instead of personalize. Example, social media. You're the kind of woman I would like to get to know in real life. Kind of, not personally, not her, but the kind of. I like some of your qualities. Hope to meet someone who has some of these qualities. Instead.
So the one point I wanted to pick up on is what she said a minute ago. If she's not reciprocating, you are only feeding her ego. And that's not going to get you anywhere. It's only going to get you like further behind. Say if you know that you kind of handle things, maybe you simped at the beginning, you gave her too many compliments, she looked at you, hello, or whatever, however she handled it, gone. Say if you do generally kind of see her every so often at a given spot, be it the bar, be it the club, be it the big, whatever it is, right? And you see her again, that's when you got to get your swag on. That's when you got to handle things like how you should have handled it first time. Then you may have a chance. It's low odds, but you may have a chance. But if you bombarded her to try and make up for that first mistake after simping, unlikely.
You're the person for me. Marry me. When can I meet you? Please answer my email. That's simping. In real life, this might look like, so far, you seem like the kind of woman I'd like to get to know better. Versus, I've been looking for you all my life. Simping. And in order for you to have high standards, to be able to attract a high value woman, you have to have self-esteem. If you don't have high self-esteem, that's when you slip into simping, and you'll never slip into her. Now what about simping versus being a gentleman? So again, Simping comes from a beta male place of feeling low value, whereas chivalry and true gentlemanly behaviors come from a place of feeling high value. And the main difference is intention. When you are in the mindset of vetting her, not getting her, you're going to react and respond in a whole different way. And the chivalrous things you do, the kind and thoughtful and courteous things you do, won't come across as simping, even if some of those actions are similar to some of the simping things we've talked about. In other words, chivalry can include opening doors for her, not purposefully ignoring her texts for days if you're not truly busy, complimenting her, particularly on her positive character traits. Remember, that shows her.
You know what, that whole text thing, I don't want to skip past that either, because I remember early in my dating days, somebody mentioned about a 3-day rule in London, a 3 or 4 day rule where you don't message somebody for 3 or 4. Listen, I'm not a game player. You know what I'm saying? So if I want to message somebody, I'll just message them, and if they make that complicated, then maybe they're not for me. But early on, I just, just let them know that I say I'm not about silly games. It's just about being upfront and just doing what feels natural. And I'm not going to second guess myself. So yeah, there you go.
You have standards, and what those standards are that are important to you. Letting her borrow your sweatshirt when she's cold. Women are usually colder than men, unless they have a lot of extra insulation. And yes, you can even tell her she's beautiful, but it's not to get her validation, attention, or approval. In other words, you're courteous and thoughtful because that's the kind of man you are. And as importantly, she deserves it and reciprocates attention, compliment.
I see what she means by kind of like reciprocates, but I don't know if it's maybe a London thing again. That's a hard thing for women to do. You know what I mean? They'll accept a compliment, but for them to be kind of, what's the word now? For them to have that kind of rounded thought to actually reflect it back. Gosh, a lot of women can't even bounce a conversation back, let alone a compliment. You know what I mean? And maybe they feel like they're giving something away. I don't know, maybe it's just my experience. But anyway, I don't think a man is necessarily looking for that type of validation, those verbal kind of cues back. Not explicit anyway. She will show you by her actions, you know what I mean? And her availability and, just being positive and cooperative and just up for things in general, up to meet, up to chat, just a nice, natural, warm flow. That's all a man looks for. It's just those positive signals.
Not because you want something from her or secretly want to win her approval. So how do you stop simping? And then how do you compliment a woman without simping? Mindset. Here's the key. You have to have high standards. You have to have any standards, but better if you have higher standards. Then you have to actively and openly vet for them. Just because she's pretty or hot should not be your only standard. That's shallow. Your mindset must be, she has character flaws. We all do. She has character flaws. What are they? And then you want to ask yourself continuously as you're getting to know her, what are her character flaws? Does she still for me? What other character flaws does she have? Does she still qualify? Does she meet my standards? That's the mindset you have. And that's not to say you're going to point out her flaws to be mean or cruel, but you're certainly going to be aware of them. And sometimes, yes, you are going to call her out on them. Except she will know that she is under for you. She knows standards. Women need, she needs to have high standards. It means that eventually she does capture your heart, your attention, your care, then she deserves and she knows deserve her. Now, as I mentioned.
Yeah, I see where she's coming from. I think there's a point where you get to the stage where you can have more kind of deeper conversations. I say you're having a get to know you phase. You're not looking for arguments. It's just going to be over really quick. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you can definitely be aware of her responses to the current information that and whether she's good people to be around, and whether it's based on past experiences where she's fallen into brackets of other people that have not been for you, that type of thing. But and you will have that running kind of rating in your mind about, again, whether this person is somebody you want to continue dating, and you know, how seriously you're going to take it, I guess. But anyway, interesting her perspective on things.
Women do love compliments, but there's a way to give them that makes them instead of instantly turned off. So you will want to watch how to compliment beautiful women without being creepy or simpy. And in that video, I share my favorite compliments. Thanks for being here. God bless.
Yeah, that wasn't bad. I think she threw a lot of facts in there, a lot of food for thought, which is the whole point and why I wanted to share it. And I say this is a female's point of view. I think there's always some value in listening to the females and also obviously having your own experience and listening to older men as well. And as I say, you're going to need listen, whatever you decide is the right thing to do. And that's what you need to live by for sure. As I say, the reason why I'm doing my videos is because I've got the benefits of all the mistakes I've made, which hopefully can help you along the way not to repeat those mistakes. And I'm the kind of guy that tends to think things through. And yeah, hopefully I can help some people along the way. We'll see. Anyway.